Hey guys, and welcome to the Hoffington Post. You know who I am. I am Theodore Hoffman, and I'm here to bring you an amazing guest. Can you introduce yourself for me?
Hi everyone, I'm Anita.
Okay. And the reason why I'm bringing this amazing woman on the show is she is very connected and she's gone through an amazing journey, and I want her to share that with you. And spirituality, I say that, and then sometimes I say it right, something wrong, I don't know. Spirituality, sometimes it's hard to get out. But she's one person that I know 100% is all about that. And I just want her to share some insight with you, and also give you something that you'd probably be able to walk away from when listening to this this podcast or watching this podcast, and actually do it in real life. So can you...
Just picking up on what you said about spirit reality, it is actually a spirit reality. If you break the word down, it's having a reality.
I'm getting bars already. Can you hear this?
It's about your spirit living a different reality, isn't it? So like that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're giving us bars already, like literally. We're how long into this? We're 1 minute 37 seconds
Gems
into this.
from the offset.
straight away. So can you share a bit about your journey, and then we're going to go into spirituality.
So my journey sort of, I'd say, hit its most escalated time was like 2016, where in 2016 my mindset just sort of completely shifted. Pretty much it was quite slow at first, where I was starting to read things and listen things and then do my own research, and then I was meditating. It was meditation which was the trigger. And then from meditation, I just come out of meditation one day and I was like, I don't want to eat meat no more. Like certain aspects of me just completely changed, and my reality around me just looked broken.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't look right. It didn't feel right. My relationship, my friendships, everything that I was doing, like my ideologies around just simple things like shopping and clothing and all of these things, they all completely changed. And as I went through that year in 2016, it's like I had to sort of strip myself down, all the way down to nothing, and start again. Now, saying that pretty much happens every year, every month, every couple of weeks, every so often. I feel like I have to strip back down and start again, because everything is forever changing all the time, and it's just a constant evolution flow that's happening. And if you don't deal with the things that are coming up for you, then that's just going to keep replaying out for you. So then you can't really change your reality, and your spirit can't evolve. So you can't evolve your spiritual reality.
Yeah, 100%. So getting into stripping yourself down, what does that look like, or how what's the thought pattern behind stripping yourself down?
Okay, so I've watched a lot of people and read people like say, like, I don't know, like Jay Shetty, not massively, but I know a little bit about his story about becoming a monk and learning different cultures and things. And then other people online, I'm not very good at naming people, but when I see their faces, I'm like, yeah, I know that person. For me, it was a case of, okay, what's working for me, what's not working for me, and then changing what I'm listening to, changing the conversations that I'm having, changing the environments that I'm in because of what I'm absorbing from around me. So listening to like idle chatter and gossip and, you know, celebrity information, just I'd feel myself switching off. And I was like, but that used to be you one time. And I'm like, yeah, but it's not me anymore.
Yeah.
So then I have to strip that away from me, and then you create space, and when you create space, you're able to fill that space with something else.
Okay, yeah, 100%.
And then you start reading other content, and like we spoke about before, about learning about ancient times such as Atlantis, and then the Mayans and all of these things. So when you start looking into our ancestors and civilizations that were here before us, you'll find that actually what they were trying to teach is still relevant now.
Yeah.
and the practices that they were doing. Where I'm at right now, I'm learning more about my own actual heritage practices and where sort of the divine being sort of came from as the original person. Because when you look into Hinduism, they sort of say like Hinduism had them divine beings and they were the original divine person, Godhead person. Now, I'm not religious, or I don't really look into religion too much or read the scriptures or things, but I have found right now where I've been sort of gauged to, I'm listening to a lot more Hindu mantras and Hindu prayers and chanting and things like that, and it's resonating with me a lot, and I feel that's because of my own ancestral bloodline of where I come from and where my ancient being came from. So that resonates very heavily with me. So now I'm again stripping down from what I thought I knew last year or even the year before that, and now I'm learning something new.
Okay, amazing. So like, I know there's probably been so many different times that you've had to strip back and step into another form to be a better person and do better things. Not to say that you was a worse person before, but like, how is it that when was it that the first time you thought to myself, you know what, something needs to change?
That's quite a challenging question.
It's a challenging question, but the other thing as well, I do like the fact that when you spoke about stripping back who you are, that that applies into the real world in a sense of like, we all evolve as in people. And I love the fact that you actually brought that down for the listeners and viewers to know that you're an evolving person
all the time.
Like, one time you might like this and you might realize that that's not good for you, so what's not good for you, you're going to change that and put something good in place to make you feel better and do better. So I love that.
What triggers me to do that? Is that sort of your question? What sort of triggers me? I think why I say it's a challenging question for me, because the ideologies of who I am anyway is constantly, before even spirituality was a massive part of me, I've always been about self-embetterment, wanting to do better, wanting to know more, wanting to learn more, wanting to just be involved, learning cultures, people, language. It's like anything I can learn, I just want to suck it up and absorb it. So, and always seeing the best in everything else. So therefore, if I'm seeing the best in my outside reality, then that's something that I like to apply to myself to always be better. So that's, for me, it's quite challenging to differentiate between what did I see in myself that was like, oh no, I don't sort of like who I am or who I've become. Because in essence, I've always kind of liked who I am and who I've always been becoming, because I've always been trying to, you know, do better. True. So in that sense, it's quite challenging, but it's when I have interactions with other people and they sort of, more so now, is when I have interactions with other people and something triggers me from their behavior, from their language, from just anything that they trigger me, and I'm just like, okay, are they triggering me because I behave that way, because I speak like that, because I treat people like that, or are they triggering me because I just don't like how they're behaving and I want to make sure that I don't behave in that sort of way. So when I see that, I act upon it, and I'm just like, I'm not going to behave in that way because I don't see that as a righteous way to behave.
Yeah, of course. I totally get you. So, because that's definitely a harder question, but you answered it great, definitely. So from a bad place to a good place, what has someone got to really think about from a mental perspective and a spiritual perspective to actually combat that negative space?
Okay, good question. Very good question. So I feel like the first thing you have to do is eliminate that first sentence that you said, coming from a bad place. No one is a bad person, and wherever you are is always the right place to be. Whether it feels good or bad to you, or looks bad to someone else, it might be good to you, and to someone else it might be bad. One thing I always say to everybody is never thrive for perfection. Always thrive for positive and production, and to evolve and do better, not perfection. So when you see, it's like, let's just put it an analogy of like racing. We can all run. You can't say I'm a bad runner. We can all run. If someone's chasing you, you're gonna run. When you're training to do running though, you're gonna check yourself, and you're gonna check your lap times, you're gonna check your training, you're gonna check your thing. So if you've seen that, I was running 10 meters in 5 minutes, what do I need to do? I need to just run quicker. I need to eat better. I need to feel a bit lighter. So then this all comes down to being a better body. So when your body's better, your mindset's clearer. So when you're then feeding yourself better, food, music, knowledge, books or whatever, your body can digest everything a lot better and give you a lot more clarity. So when you have clarity, you have awareness, and when you have awareness, you're aware of what you're doing. So therefore you stop and you think before you do something. And myself, I kind of compare it to what I've done before, of how I've behaved before, of how I've reacted before, and as before I react or make action, I'm just like, okay, so if this happened last year, how would you have reacted? Okay, so don't speak like that this time then, because you're not that person anymore.
Can we break down awareness?
Okay.
Because awareness is a very huge part of everything. But some people get aggravated very quick and so forth, but being aware allows you to... I don't really want to get... I understand what it is, but I want you to get into it more deeper than me, because...
Because you want me to get in trouble for it.
No, I don't want you to get in trouble for it, because you're not going to get in trouble for this. You're teaching people more about awareness and spirituality in it, so... Okay,
I will give you my perspective of awareness. Because everybody has their own perspective. And just... thinking about Kanye West and Joe Rogan's conversation today, they was talking about perspective, it is literally comes down to perspective. Because I can say to you, oh, you're not aware that your shoes off, but you're like, this is how I wear my shoes.
Real talk.
So for me, having literally everything. So for me, when I say awareness, it's literally can be awareness of where your arm is. Some people lack bodily awareness where they'll walk into you, bump into you. And it's not because they lack bodily awareness. They're so far away from their inner self that they don't have much control, like down to the fingertips, down to the feet, because they're just walking, because it's a programmed thing, it's a pre-exempt thing now that's happening. So for me, awareness is understanding your programming and what you're programming, and how you then find not the flaws in there, but find the cracks, so to speak. Like, just be mindful. That book that I shared with you about the running. Okay, so
really good book, by the way.
A very good book. Did you enjoy it?
I enjoyed it.
So see how he talks about his feet. And then see how he talks about feeling each toe and the balls of his feet and the heel of his foot. So he could just run if he wanted to. We can all just run. But when you put your breath and awareness all the way into your foot, you will feel each part of your body. And that same awareness applies in the mind. So when you put thought and energy and a breath, more importantly, because you take a moment to pause, your mind starts to say, okay, don't just go to the premeditated conversations, don't go to the old conversations, really receive what's happening around you, the conversations, who's here, what are they saying, and really receive that and have an awareness of what you're receiving. Because in essence, I might not even need to respond to you, because what you're saying could be a rhetorical question for yourself.
Yeah.
And I might not need to even reply.
Yeah.
But if I don't have that awareness and I just start replying, I'm going to cloud your judgment of something that you already know for yourself.
Of course.
And then that distorts your awareness and your perception, because I've now added my 50 cents in there as well.
So another thing about being yourself, so like being aware is a great thing, but like being yourself, a lot of people find it hard being themselves, being around other people, and some people just don't know who that they are. So from your perspective and spirituality perspective, like how can you really push yourself to really know who you are?
I feel like the question you're actually asking is, people feel that they're too weird when they divulge into authentic aspects of themselves, which is the universe, and they can't be that around everybody all the time because not everybody can receive it.
Okay, yeah, you just dissected what I said fully, just pop, ching, 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 ching. And it's just like, got to the meat of the whole of the veg.
I can say that because I've been in that position myself. Yeah. And someone who's pretty confident.
I just love the fact that you just took my words and you just sliced it up to me. I'm not even gonna lie.
You're asking how to let people not see you as a weirdo.
No, not even. I didn't even like your like. I said what I said and I meant what I said. But you sliced it up and just made it better, and then you got it straight to the point.
Do you know what we call that? Alchemy.
Well,
alchemy.
I need to do some research. I've been looking at it and I've been starting to see it pop up here and there. So that's a sign for me to go look into that and understand more of that.
It's about transmuting and transforming. Alchemy actually is like turning any metal into gold. Mm-hmm. So when you become an alchemist in this human realm, so to speak, you can transform anything. So you can take the veg and turn it into a meal. Yeah. You can take the thoughts and manifest it into a reality.
Yeah. Okay.
So alchemy is about transformation.
Learning something new every day.
Yeah. So going back to that, the thing is, it's a challenging thing because of the society that we do live in. Mm-hmm. I've had conversations myself as a growing person and, feeling completely confident, going from, say, like one bubble of my tribe to another bubble who's not my tribe, and then trying to speak the same sort of language, and they just look at you like, yeah. I mean, I've been at work and I've had a conversation and the boys literally turned around and he's like, you sound like a hippie, you sound like you've just smoked a 10 bag or something. And I'm just like, you asked me a question and I've answered the question.
Yeah. Like, you just don't get your perspective.
Yeah. And what I always get is, whoa, that's deep. And I'm thinking, no, it's not deep yet. I haven't got deep. Yeah. I'm just giving you a bit of surface.
Just giving you overview.
The thing we have to learn is to not let that crush you, because I tell you one thing, it's not a nice feeling. It's not a nice feeling, and that will throw you. Mm-hmm. That will throw you, like, literally will throw you off your path, off that feeling of fulfillment of being yourself all the time. Because it's like you then start looking for that external validation, which you already learned that you don't need. Mm-hmm. And it's like throwing like bait to sharks. It's like you've sat at home, done all this work, and someone's thrown you to the sharks, and you're like, I can't function. Yeah. Because no one can hear me, no one can see me, no one can understand me. So what does that mean then? Do I go back to being a version of myself that's not fitting me but fits everything else? Or do I continue being myself and just be on my own? And there's a quote and it says, Zen is the way of the lonely warrior or something like that. So although it is a lonely journey, you're always going to resonate with someone. You're always going to find your people. You're always going to attract your own people. So to be your authentic self is probably the hardest thing to actually do. Yeah. And I mean, I've grown up in a era where digital, and like, it wasn't in our face all the time. And I myself have felt, I'm not going to use the word victim, but have felt for the like watching the onliners and believing that this is their life, and oh, like they've got all this, or they're doing all of that, and they're looking this type of way with this thing and this thing and this thing. But what is the reality of that living? Yeah. Who are they really? Because every picture looks the same. Every picture's got the same sort of present theme, filter, and everything's got that same thing. But what's happening behind that? Yeah. Who are they really? Yeah. Who is the real person? Like, why, if they post another picture that hasn't got that filter, how different is it going to be in comparison to the other pictures?
Cool. Definitely. So, I want to get into more about, like, really getting to know who you are. What practices would you recommend for someone to actually try and get to know who they are?
The one practice that I think has allowed me to know who I am is journaling. Journaling. Because
she came here with two.
Just slide that in there. I actually take my journal with me pretty much everywhere. Yeah. And even in the house, I have an affirmations book, which is just a plain journal, and I do affirmations in there. And then I have my journal, and because I've just moved to the next journal, I'm still carrying my other journal around. So if I'm upstairs, they'll all come upstairs with me. If I'm going down, I'll take them downstairs with me. Because when I have a negative thought about myself, I'll go in affirmations and I'll affirmate myself back to remind myself of who I am. Yeah. If it's a bit heavier than that, then I have to journal and I have to ask myself, why am I feeling that way? Why have I put that feeling on myself? Has it come from outside? Have I put it on myself? What's happening in my day for me to feel that way? And then through journaling, I've found that the more I speak to myself, the more I learn about myself, and then I can go back and reflect on, say, like a few months ago, and see what was going on then, and who I thought I was then, and how I was feeling then, and how I'm feeling now. And that's how I get to learn about myself. Yeah. Because being a single parent and I've not been in a relationship for like 4 years now, so I don't have that sort of somebody always saying to me, like checking me, so to speak. So I'm always constantly checking myself. Yeah. So that's why I'm very confident when people try to tell me about me. I'm like, you can't tell me about me, because
you check in with yourself
every single day, all day. And now that I'm working at home, it's an all day thing for me. Of course. I have a little bit of conversation here and there with work colleagues, or my friends will check in on me if I want to, or I'll check in on them and things. But evidently, most of my hours are for me, which I actually well and truly love, because I've learned so much about myself this year, more so than I have in years before that. Because when I've been outside, it's been the external
validation all the time.
Yeah. Even when I didn't need it, it was there though. And it's so crazy that you don't need it, but the human mind, the way that it works, it will slip you in there for you to, like, it just takes two people to make two similar comments for you to start questioning something about yourself. And then you'll start going, once you start doing that, it's a unraveling game. It's quite dangerous.
Knowing that you're a single parent, and I've met the amazing Manisha. She, like, how do you incorporate spirituality into her life as well?
The thing with Manisha is, I feel like a lot of the children now, they're already tuned in, tapped in, and turned on all the time. So I listen to her speak, and it's like she's teaching me more than I'm teaching her. Yeah. Although I do get her to do yoga and stuff in the morning as well, and try and do meditation, but each to their own. She does it when she wants to do it. For me, then I wake up like an hour. Actually, used to wake up an hour earlier before my leaving time, but now that I'm at home, I actually thought about this morning. I was like, I actually give myself like 3 hours in the morning. That's a lot of time.
Yeah, but you need that for you.
Yeah, so I'll get up, I'll go use the bathroom, go tend to my cat first, and then I'll put my mat down downstairs so it's ready for me. Then I'll go back to my room. I will sit and meditate first. I'll either use a guided meditation or I'll do my own meditation. You've seen I've got a little altar space. Like I'll light some candles, give my prayers. If I want to offer something, I'll give offering, but I'll pray. I'll either journal then or I'll journal after yoga, or sometimes both. I'll do it twice if I feel like I need to. If I'm just having one of them days where I feel like I'm getting loads of insight, or if I haven't journaled the day before properly, because I try to journal every day, but we all have that time where it just can't fit in, we do something. So if I haven't, then I'll just journal a lot more. And then I'll do my yoga. So I used to go gym all the time, but that's changed for me now. Now I'm at home and I'm doing like yoga workouts, which I find are much better for me. When I first started opening up my chakras and to allow source energy to come through, it was Kundalini Yoga, which is like, Kundalini is your life force, so that comes like from your root chakra up to your crown chakra. So when you do Kundalini Yoga, it's about breath work as well, and it's about bringing the energy through and opening up your third eye, which all has to entail and flows into what you're consuming as well. So down to your toothpaste and fluoride-based products, which you've probably researched into and know much about. So
we're not gonna get too. She's throwing a lot out here right now, but like, if we were to go into each part of what she's saying and the thing that she's mentioned, it is a very, very long and deep conversation. But there are definitely going to be other shows that she's going to be on to talk about these things, and also
if you want me back,
encouraging her to create more content to talk about all these things as well. So hopefully you'll be able to see more content come from her about those things as well. But she's been throwing out quite a lot of stuff there, so I just wanted to just let you guys know there's a lot more deeper things to everything that she's mentioning.
Yeah, even if I don't go into it too deeply, I'm planting the seeds for you. So we are in the time where people just pick up their phone while they're watching this or listening to this and Google it straight away.
Yeah, true.
And have an understanding of what I'm talking about, even if you've never heard about it before.
Definitely.
That's one thing I do as well. If I'm listening to a podcast or if I'm reading a book and I don't really understand what it is that they're trying to say, or they've put a word in there that I'm just like, oh, what does that even mean? I'll just Google it straight away so I can have an understanding of what I'm reading or what I'm listening to. Otherwise, it's kind of pointless.
Yeah. So, with affirmations, what do your affirmations look like?
What do my affirmations look like?
Yeah, so what do you say to yourself? And this is like, you probably at the moment feel a bit like might be on edge because you saying it to like the world, viewers and listeners and stuff like that. You might feel like, oh, you know what? I don't want to say that, but
no, it's okay.
Like, I think it's good to kind of express what you say. I'll express what I say as well, because I think it's a really important thing to realise that this should be a normal practice that everyone should do every single day, because even I do it. Like, I have a long list of things that I say to myself to make sure that I know that I know who I am every single day. And I just want you to kind of like share what yours is.
I don't mind sharing.
Yeah,
I actually have like a couple of friends, or not students, but we're all teachers and students, so I do have like students who come to me and ask me questions, and I will go in my journal and give them this word for word for what I've been saying, so I don't really mind. My affirmations that start in the morning are, first I start with like, I am focused, I have clarity, I have like awareness, I have like, I'm open to receiving, I'm open to new opportunities. Then I start going into the sort of the self-worth ones, where I'm like, I am worthy, I'm deserving, I am enough, I am thriving because my body is thriving. So I give my body that recognition every day as well, to know that I wouldn't thrive without my body. So I'm only thriving because of my body. So they're the sort of affirmations. So I like to clear my mind first with my affirmations and give my mind the power, so that I can focus for the day. And then I give my body and my physical self the affirmations, and my emotional self the affirmations that I'm safe. I have everything that I need, and that I'm my own being, and my light is protected. So these sorts of affirmations.
Amazing. So mine are more like first thing I always I say to myself is like, thank God for life.
Yeah.
Because I got to see another day, and that's why I kind of really express that a lot on like Instagram and on socials, is like, be grateful for the day, because there's a lot of people that didn't get to see the day.
Yeah.
So much appreciation to that. I'm grateful for that on my father. I'm grateful for the food that I'm going to receive today. I am a great businessman. I am a great person. I'm here to help others always. We are all one, making sure that I can do my best. I am my best every single day, and even when I'm not feeling it, I am the best. Remember, like, and even if I'm really not feeling great that day, it's like, you know what? Today's just one of those days. You are still amazing. You just didn't get all of that done. But that's fine, because today, that wasn't meant to get done today. You was meant to work more on X, Y, and Z. You was meant to work on yourself even more. So that's kind of like what I say to myself.
Yeah.
As well as I feel like...
Little tip. On them days when you're not feeling the best, get your one most powerful affirmation and just keep writing it.
Okay.
So if I'm feeling, I don't know, like physically not feeling good, then I will use like I am worthy, I am enough, I'm loving, I'm deserving, and I will just write the same ones, 2 pages, 1 page, 2 page, until the vibration has changed.
Yeah.
Because once you change the vibration, it's good.
Yeah,
you're good.
Of course. You're on another level.
Yeah, and I use Esther Hicks is someone that come into my life in, again, 2016. It was introduced to me by one of my really good friends, Emma. So Esther is a woman in Texas who channels like a higher being called Abraham. And one thing that I learned from her, which stuck with me and will always stick with me, I still listen to her all the time. 17 seconds. Takes 17 seconds for any train of thought to start propelling, so whether that's negative or positive. So if you've gone in for 17 seconds on yourself with negativity, you've got that merry-go-round going. If you catch yourself at 6 seconds and start changing it up and switching it up to a positive affirmation, you haven't got the train of thought going anywhere, and you're already adding more weight onto the positive side, so you're pulling yourself away from there.
Okay. Finding the balance.
Yeah.
And then shifting to something that's positive.
But we are human, and heaviness can hit at any time. And even myself, I can do the yoga in the morning, I can do the meditation, I can do the affirmations, I can listen to the chanting, I can listen to the prayer. 1 o'clock, thought might come in, or I might see something, or just sometimes it just comes from nowhere, and it can happen, and it can feel like you've been knocked.
Yeah.
What do you do then? Start journaling again, start affirmation again. What do you actually do then?
Yeah.
So I will then go onto YouTube and I will find one of Esther's talks, which are normally like 15 minutes long, a rampage or something, and I will listen to that and I will fully vibe myself back out.
So where do you see yourself spiritually in like 5 years?
I like how you're using the word spiritual and spirituality and all that, but I'm like far from labels and everything. I would just say like I'm just me.
Yeah, you're you.
Floating around in this cosmic universe, just doing my thing.
I get that. I just think, you know what it is I'm putting more emphasis on it because it needs to be more aware.
Yeah.
And as well as spiritually, I think, like you was talking about layers, and I feel like since forever I've been peeling back layers.
Yeah.
And
we're all onions, really.
Yeah, we're all onions, really. And I feel like I've really got to an even better level. Like, you know what's happened recently, like with a few things have been stolen and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I'm just literally like,
yeah,
to a lot of people that are just like, it could destroy them, or it could just say it really pissed them off for like a whole week or a month or whatever, or a highlight. But for me, that's just like, it is what it is.
Done now.
They needed that, like, and it's not even like it's a situation, it's a thing, it costs money and that, but
yeah,
it just is what it is, and I just move on. Like,
that's trusting and having faith in the divine order of everything that takes place.
But it's taken me like so long to get to this level, so that's why I speak to it about spirituality openly like that.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking to myself, if I'm like that now, in the next
What, you're
5
gonna be like?
I'll
but
be like a monk.
This is yeah, this is the thing though, like, because it's peaks and troughs.
Yeah.
You can have an amazing year and think you like got this enlightenment and whatever, and something can happen and bring you back here. And I've had this battle myself where it's like, what happened to all that work that I've done? What happened to all that growing that I've done? Like, this has just happened, and whoa, I did not even know how to handle this with all the tools that I've had, all the resources that I have, all the understanding that I have cultivated in myself, all the peace that I have cultivated in myself is nyada. Like, it's gone. Nyada.
But yeah, I totally get you. That's why it's like a muscle. It is. Your spirituality is like a muscle. Your mind is like a muscle. Your body is a muscle. So it's just like working on those things to the best of your ability.
I will back that up though and say, once the mind is open, it cannot be closed though. So don't ever think that once you start expanding your consciousness, that something knocks you and then your mind closes again. It doesn't work like that. Once your mind is, you can't unsee what you've seen. And that's what learning is. Once you've learned, you can unlearn if it's not relevant to you, but your higher being knows what's relevant. Your higher being knows the perception that your mind has now created and understands that it's an infinite amount that your mind can still be capable of understanding. So it will keep doing that. In 3 years' time, I would love to be just more everything, but still just...
What does more everything look like?
For me, more everything is just more knowing, more understanding, more awareness, but also more applying and more teaching. I want to be more teachable. I want to...
Teachable?
Teachable. I want to be more teachable as well because I love to learn. And I don't think I can be more teachable because I just love to learn anyway. That's like, I'm always...
You want to be more of a teacher?
Yeah, I want to be able to share my abundance of everything that I know.
Yeah.
And
starting already?
And and allow people to cultivate their own prosperity, but understand that prosperity is not a materialistic thing. But
what's prosperity?
For me, prosperity is this. This is prosperous for me. For me, food is prosperous, laughter, joy, understanding, like just waking up and seeing the leaves on the ground. That to me is prosperity. Today I was in my kitchen doing water and I watched a squirrel like lifting the leaves looking for conkers because I got a conker tree in my garden, and that to me was just like a whole prosperous moment. I was like, I've never actually seen a squirrel lift the leaf. And actually, like, you see them scurrying around, but I watched this squirrel like lift the leaf up and look for this conker and then go away. And the magpie had it in his mouth and he was sitting on the fence. So that to me was like a little show from the universe to say, look at these lot. And it was fun to watch. Was it? So that prosperity comes in many different forms, but when you learn that we are always prosperous through the wealth of our health as well, you attract so many different things. You attract so many like people, conversations, just like just a remark from a stranger will affirm something that you've been questioning all day, and that to me is a prosperous moment because it's a gem. Someone's come and delivered that to you unknowingly, that they've delivered that to you, and to me that's gold. So we're talking about my journey and where I am. Where are you on your journey right now? I
think, you know what, through this whole lockdown thing, being at home has been amazing because it's made me reevaluate like myself, my life, my time, my energy. Yeah, you can have it. Yeah. Open it, it's fine. It's made me analyze a lot of things, and it's been positive, and I think spiritually, it's allowed me to do a lot more research on who I am, ancestors, where I'm from. It's made me look into more about the earth, more about eating, more about food, more about my morals and principles and values. So like that's a lot of things, but it's also even starting running, because obviously with the lockdown everyone's been staying at home and all this, that and the other, and at first I wasn't even with it. I was just like, yo, this is saving me, it's a lie. And then from my perspective I was just like, you know what, instead of like staying at home, let me just go out and do some running. And I realized last year you could just say, Theo, you run, and you'd laugh, and I genuinely thought I'd never be doing that. But then I started doing some running, and I realized how present and how focused I was, and how much I wasn't even worrying about work. I wasn't worrying about nothing. It was just more about my whole body becoming one whole muscle, and
being aware of
me,
where your feet are on the ground,
everything.
Yeah.
And actually understanding like how the blood's just rushing through my body, in my veins, me sweating, and just everything to like that moment. And even like listening to the music, it's just like I am a part of that music, and it makes me whole. So I've always been a person to always be aware of how people are and wanting to understand people's perceptions, because that's like the strapline of myself and my business. It's like changing people's perspective to be their better selves. Yeah. So from that, I've always been aware, but this year specifically, it's made me realize there's a lot of things that I didn't need, and me cutting that off and realizing how much I can do with what I've got made me realize I can do like 10 times the amount with all that less, like all the less of the other stuff, as well as my perception on money and stuff like that. It's made me realize, you know what, money is not a big thing at all. It's great to have as a tool for like living and day to day and all this, that and the other. See, I'm just like splatting everywhere, but it's just all of these things actually made me realize like money is just genuinely nothing. It is someone's imagination.
Money is like everything else. It's just energy.
Yeah, it's just energy.
It's just energy, and like you said, we need it now for essential things. Say like if we lived in the trading age, we probably still wouldn't have money that much. Would be trading.
Yeah, be trading cattle for something else, or wheat and whatnot. Yeah,
skills and products and services. That's what we'd be trading. Whereas now, well, we're kind of going back to skill-based, I feel.
Yeah, we are. With everything right now, we are definitely going back to skill-based, especially how the financial system at the moment is crumbling.
Yeah.
I think, like, I watched a video of some man, and he was just throwing money in the air, and he was in America, New York or something like that, and people were just gravitating to the money, and I was just like, if you actually realise that piece of paper actually really doesn't mean anything, but because you as a human has always been given the idea to say that it is valuable, that makes it valuable, where it's not valuable. Yeah. Because if you used to go to a monkey and say like, here's a tenner, give me a banana, he's going to be like, what the fuck you on? Because he'll understand the real value behind that banana is going to be able to feed him. Yeah. And it's they're not thinking about stories, they're thinking about reality. Yeah. So I think it's just like with the Kanye video.
I was literally going to say, because he talks about money.
Yeah.
And he says about how it actually holds no value.
It doesn't.
Which is true, because it's just something that's been printed and given that value of what it is. Yeah. And like you said, who do we owe the debt to?
We don't owe the debt to no one.
Who do we owe the debt to? Nobody.
It's just made for people to have money in the system. Yeah. Not even economy. It's just what money does at the moment. The fiat currency is like you work for it and then it just goes all the way up, but it never comes down. So like with this complete financial change that's happening now, that people are starting to look through the fiat currency and say, you know what, this is fake. How's the government paying this back? How is, like, where's our money really being spent? Why is our money being put, majority of it going on war?
Yeah.
Where if we was to actually use that money and give it to people that really needed it, we'd all have houses, we'd all have cars, we'd all have food and have a better way of living.
Yeah.
But it's just a practice mindset that the government has given to us and said, you know what, we're going to profit from you guys and we're just going to make the rich rich and the poor poor. But then when you change, once you've had like significant amount of money, or when you look at it, you're like, well, this money really doesn't do any great for anyone if it's just sitting there doing nothing. But then you could go on the street and pay for someone's food, you can do all these different things with it, but then that depends on who has the most of that paper.
Yeah, everything also bringing it back to your spirit reality, bringing it back to that, everything comes down to intention.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
if you had £10 million, you could go out and feed homeless, because that's your intention behind the energy exchange of the money and the service that it's providing. So taking it back to spirituality and understanding the relevancy and the irrelevancy of money. Okay, gonna take me all into like duality and the polarities of duality and why both of them exist. So although it is irrelevant, it's very relevant to our current living realities.
Our current, but but then I want to go from like the Kanye West perspective, like going outside of that and changing it to where you really don't need to like be living off that, because if we all just grew our own veg, or we had a whole station where everyone could just eat and everyone had their own home and it was all self-sustainable, what are you actually living for after that?
Yeah. If you have you looked at like Norway?
No.
So Norway, they have a very high pay rate that they pay everybody there so that they can live well, and they have disposable money to put back in the system. But everybody's got a good home, they have time, they have a job, and I think their homelessness rate is very low because they provide housing for the homeless as well. So it comes that this is like a whole nother conversation, but that conversation comes down to who's in charge, the power, the mindset, the intent, and what they want for their communities. So like Kanye West was saying, money is infinite, really. So really, if we really wanted to in our society, like students wouldn't have to pay so much for education, parents could get paid more, people could have better housing, eat better, live better, all of these things, and have a better standard of living, and have time to cultivate the soul's needs, as in have time to go out, because you don't need to have 3 jobs. One job's enough.
But there's enough people that are out there
3, 4, 5 jobs.
Yeah, literally.
Like, how do they even have the time to sit and have peace for themselves for 5 minutes? So if that's your external reality of, I have to have 5 jobs to fulfill whatever's going on, what's happening in your internal reality? And going off what we were saying earlier about going away and things, and manifesting and cultivating your environment on the outside to match your internal, it's not easy thing to do. It's not easy thing to do. It's a challenging thing to do, but we can all do it. And this is where spirituality takes you back to simplicity and more simple times, to understand that it's nice to have all these things and it's grateful, and we're allowed to want these things. That's why we're here. We came to enjoy and have everything that it is that we want and want to desire, and have more, and have the big houses and the cars and all of these things. But you also have to have the intent and the understanding is that I don't really need it.
It's not.
That's what it is. And that's where the gap is. That's where the awareness is either lacking or is there. So if you're lacking that awareness of, okay, I want this, but I don't need it, so I'm okay. I'm happy with what I've got. then universe is like, oh, you're happy with what you got, but you like some of that. Okay, I'll give you some of that as well then.
So that's that mindset there. That's what I've been way more recently been like
tapping
that,
into.
and I've realized I've been so happy.
Yeah.
And I've been getting everything that I've wanted.
Just come
and, like,
to
it's
you.
just like blessed when like everything comes in divine time, innit?
Yeah.
But literally what you just said there, it's just like when you really realize, when you're grateful for what you've got, you have everything. You can get everything, and everything comes to you.
Present moment awareness. Okay. So present moment awareness is living in that present moment and knowing and being aware that everything that you have right there and then in the present moment is enough. So when you do that in every single moment and know that you have enough, the lack mindset just sort of diminishes. It's gone. And
I feel like I've been living in that way more this year. So,
and that's a good thing that's come out of this year, because no one knows what's happening. So we've basically been forced into, not everybody's aware of it, but we've been forced into living in present moment awareness to understand that today is just today. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. New lockdown rules, new travel ban list, new like face masks, supermarkets, shops, whatever. Like you don't even know what's going to happen tomorrow. So it's like, okay, what can I do then? Live in present moment awareness and look around you. Find 3 things that you're grateful for in present moment awareness, and know that if you've got 3 things, you can add another 3 things and another 3 things, and next thing you know, you've got a list of like 12 things in your present moment that you're like, whoa, okay, I've got all these things, I'm good.
Definitely, totally agree. We've covered a lot. We've covered a lot in this podcast. We're gonna definitely have some more podcasts. You're just amazing, you man. You made me feel good. It's good to kind of like go back and really think about it, about life and how this year's gone and the past years and stuff like that. But yeah, it's been amazing having you on the podcast. Can you share your socials or anything that you want people to connect you with?
Okay, I'm currently actually launching a YouTube channel, and my current Instagram is Anita.Wanthi. That's WANTHI. So you can find me on Instagram. It's a new Instagram page that I'm starting because I just feel like I want to share. I'm going to be sharing like meditations. I'm going to be sharing affirmations. I'm going to be sharing daily practices. I'm going to be sharing my own soul journey, because all I really know is how to be myself. And being a parent as well, I'm going to share a lot of parenting things, and we go traveling on our own and things. I'm going to share things like that. I used to do a lot of cooking videos. I've been having a little battle with food myself, so now that I've sort of gone through that, I'm going to start sharing food again and things. So definitely be awesome.
Cool. If you like this video, please like it. Please share it with a friend that you feel that is going to resonate and love this video, and potentially share it to another friend. And leave any comments down below for myself to answer, or any questions for my amazing...
I would love to answer more questions. This has actually been so amazing. Thank you for my first podcast with you. It's been really good, really insightful, and I can feel the vibes.
100%.
Good vibes.
100%. I want to say thank you very much for listening and watching. Take care, and I'll see you on the next show.